Welcome to Stormwater Drainage Solutions. In today's video, we're going to be installing a 12 by 12 catch basin with a metal grate in this low spot here. So basically what we have going on is water is pooling all right here in this corner on these pavers, and it's creating a sinkhole to open up and form. The water is traveling underneath the pavers and it's eroding them out. So we're going to be installing that 12 by 12 catch basin in that low point to collect that water, and we're going to then gravity feed it past this driveway to a lower elevated point on this property. So that's a very important thing to consider whenever you're installing any type of drain basin. The point of discharge, the area that you're going to be taking that water to, the elevation has to be lower than the point that you're collecting it. If it is not lower, what ultimately will happen is water is going to fill that basin, it's going to fill that main line, then it is not going to be able to discharge efficiently, and it's just going to back up, and the water is still going to be pooling in the basin and all in this area. So you have to make sure that you take that drainage line out far enough where the elevation is lower so it can discharge. If there isn't an area on the property that is lower to be able to take that drain line to, you're going to have to put a sump pump in. There's just no other way around it. So as you can see here, we have the hole for the basin dug and the trench dug. We use the tamper to flatten that dirt out on the bottom so that that basin can have a nice place to seat right there so it is level. And we are actually not going to be perforating this basin. We're not going to be putting stone underneath it. And the reason why is because we don't want water leaching out below here, because there are going to be pavers around here. If we have water leaching out of the bottom of this basin with pavers above it, it could start to cause the pavers to sink. So unfortunately, whenever you're installing a basin in either concrete or pavers or asphalt, any type of surface that's non-porous, you don't want to perforate your basin. You don't want water leaching out below that, because it can start to undermine the concrete or the pavers or asphalt or whatever it is. So it's best just to leave it solid. That way you don't lose water at that point. So we're going to be running SDR 35 PVC, a 4-inch main line on this job. Due to it going underneath the driveway, there's going to be constant vehicle traffic with trailers, a boat, RV, different things like that. So we're just going to use SDR 35 for this job. At the end, we're going to use a percolation tee with an FDM pop-up emitter. That way the water can leach down into the ground at the discharge end so that main line can dry out after a rain event. Now keep in mind, on a rain event, while the rain is pouring in this area and this basin is collecting water and is taking it in, that water will be coming up out of the pop-up emitter. And when the rain ends, the water will then leach away into the ground because of that percolation tee. Now, whenever you're installing a percolation tee at the end of your discharge point, so it can leach the water away, you need to make sure that you have well draining soil. The soil needs to be sandy or loomy soil. If it is solid clay, a percolation tee is not going to work that well. Now, you can still install the percolation tee because the clay will take the water in. It's just going to take it in very, very slowly. So that main line is going to hold water for a while until that clay can absorb it, because clay does not allow water to get through it. Before we bury our mainline pipe up, we're going to run water in the system and make sure it makes it to the discharge end and that our slope is proper. And this actually is going to illustrate what I was talking about in the beginning of this video, that you have to make sure that your discharge point is lower than your collection point. I feel like I can't stress that enough, because I always get questions from clients asking about that, if they'd be able to discharge a system to a particular location. And when I'm on site taking a look, I'm looking at it like, no, this is not going to work, because your point of collection is too high compared to where you're taking it. We have to go further out with this drain line in order to get this thing to drain properly if you want to have it on a gravity fed system. Sometimes you have to take that drain line all the way to the curb, because just that little bit of slope that you can gather at the end of that curb is enough to discharge that entire system. But if you try to discharge it in the yard higher up, then it's not enough slope and you're not going to discharge that system efficiently. So you can see the water has made it to the end of the discharge line here, and it's just going down into the percolation tee through the stone that we put. So when we put these percolation tees in, what we will do is we will dig down a little bit. We will line that hole with a geotextile filter fabric. We'll put our percolation tee in there, and then we will go ahead and fill some stone in there. That way that water can filter through the stone, and it helps that water absorb into the soil faster. And once that percolation tee in the system gets maxed out with water, it will begin to come up out of the pop-up emitter and then travel downhill to the point of discharge. So you can see we have our line completely buried in here. The last thing to do is get the pavers put back, but on this particular job, we did not have to remove the pavers or put the pavers back. This client had a paver company that was taking care of that. All we had to do was handle the drainage for this particular project. So if you enjoyed this video and you learned something, give us a thumbs up. It really supports us. It supports the channel. If you need drainage work in the Tampa Bay area, exterior drainage work, any type of storm drainage work, give Stormwater Drainage Solutions a call at 813-614-3456. We got you covered.